Let's quickly have an in-depth review of LLC business lines of credit from U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is a great bank. They're a regional player, and they have a great LLC business line of credit, and they are very generous too. They can actually grant you lines of credit all the way to $1 million. That's just fantastic. So here is a review that you need to pay attention to. Number one, U.S. Bank has a cash flow manager. So a cash flow manager is an LLC business line of credit. Here you can get up to $250,000. This source of funding allows you to manage cash flows. You have competitive rates with the option to lock in a fixed rate depending on the relationship you have with U.S. Bank. And so the U.S. Bank Cash Flow Manager line of credit for LLC basically is a revolving line of credit that can ensure that your LLC has working capital for seasonal purchases, inventory, and short-term cash needs. Okay, and you can use the cash for certain expenses, cash flow needs, and major purchases. And the good thing is that this cash flow manager gives you quick and easy access to available funds. Okay, so here are the features I want you to pay attention to. So you have LLC credit lines up to $250,000. You have competitive rates with the option to lock in a fixed rate on existing balances for your LLC. This is best for LLCs that have been in business for 2 years or more. So if your LLC has been in business for less than 2 years, you better have a great relationship with U.S. Bank to qualify. And so this line of credit, the cash flow manager, is easily accessible via you can access the line with a Visa Platinum card, convenience checks, online banking, business service center, or at a branch. And you can easily manage your LLC line through online banking. So this is really great. In terms of fees, this line of credit for LLCs is also decent. There's no annual fee on lines that are greater than $50,000, but there is a $150 annual fee for lines that are $50,000 or less. So you gotta really be sort of cognizant of those fees. But overall, the cash flow manager is a great LLC business line of credit from U.S. Bank up to $250,000. The second type of line of credit that they have is called, very simply, business line of credit. So you have the cash flow manager, and then you have the business line of credit. By the way, welcome back to the show. It's really wonderful to have you here. We're having a quick convo about LLC business lines of credit from U.S. Bank. And so this business line of credit allows you to purchase materials for your LLC, equipment, or inventory. Here, the amount is more generous. So U.S. Bank will grant your LLC up to $1 million. Think about that. And you have a competitive interest rates for your limited liability company. And you also have an interest only payment option. So the good thing here is that you have a draw phase and you have a repayment phase. Okay. So for secured applications, U.S. Bank will file a UCC lien and must be in first lien position using all business assets as collateral. So if you currently have more than $1 million in credit with U.S. Bank, you should apply for additional credit directly with your banker or relationship manager. This is really important. Everything starts with your relationship manager or your banker, okay? And the cool thing is you can also, if you already have a relationship with the U.S. Bank, you can apply online. Okay, not a problem. And so if you are a U.S. Bank customer enrolled in online banking, what will happen here is that your dashboard will be pre-filled with some information about your LLC. And so make sure that you have your LLC and personal information ready, including your EIN number and gross annual sales information, so you can get started. So you have to actually think about which one is right for you. Are you interested in the cash flow manager for your LLC or just the business line of credit? Remember, the amounts are different. For the cash flow manager, you have a credit lines up to $250,000. For the business line of credit, you have lines that go all the way to $1 million, but the requirements are a little more stringent for the business line of credit. Here you have to be in business for at least 2 years. So this is really important. So which credit line is right for your LLC? Secured business line of credit or unsecured business line of credit? It really depends on the particulars of your LLC. The third LLC business line of credit from US Bank I want to share with you today is called the Business Equity Line of Credit. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a deep convo about LLC business lines of credit from US Bank. US Bank has a series of funding programs for all types of businesses, including LLCs, limited liability companies. Okay, so for the business equity line of credit that the US Bank has, you can use real estate as equity. So you have up to $500,000 in terms of approval. You have revolving terms with a 5-year maximum. You have monthly interest only. So you got to ask yourself, does your LLC currently have real estate assets, or is your LLC about to engage in real estate real estate projects, for example, renovation, or you have to build a new office for your LLC, or sort of engage in related property activities. So if you are and you will not need cash, let's say on a continual basis, then a business equity line of credit for your LLC might be a great option. The fourth category of lines of credit I want to share with you for your LLC from US Bank is called the Business Reserve Line. And here you're basically getting protection from overdraft charges, okay? And so here you have up to $5,000, and there is no annual fee. But the only thing is you have to link this business reserve line to your US Bank business checking account, which means what? It means that you must have a prior relationship with US Bank, which is really great anyway, because US Bank is a great bank for LLCs across the country. US Bank is not a national bank. They are a regional player, but they are a great player. If your LLC is located in the geographies that they cover in their footprint, then you would really benefit a lot from opening an LLC business account from US Bank. Not just one account. You can open a checking account, a savings account, but overall, so those are the four LLC business lines of credit that you get from US Bank. Let me just recap quickly. So you have the cash flow manager. You have up to $250,000. The business line of credit up to $1 million. The business equity line of credit up to $500,000, and the business reserve line up to $5,000. Now, let me give you an overview here. So what type of line of credit is right for your LLCs? So what type of credit products should you get from US Bank? So you have to understand, borrowing money is a big step for LLC business owners. So you got to really evaluate your goals and specific needs, so you are really clear whether or not you should get a loan or a line of credit for your LLC. So if you are an LLC owner or LLC member, you may be used to exhausting your personal funds like your credit card balance to grow your LLC, right? But there may be other options, particularly if you have been in business for a few years now. So whether you want to expand your operations or improve your LLC's cash flow, taking out a small business loan or a line of credit could help. It's all about making sure that you actually balance your cash inflows and cash outflows, boss. Very important. So you have to be really clear about your liquidity situation, your LLC's liquidity situation. Don't you get yourself in a situation where your LLC cannot actually make the repayments on the line of credit they have that the company has charged during the draw phase. Okay, be very clear about that. So you got to really understand what really is great for your business. And one thing I want to say here is that there are situations where maybe you don't need a business line of credit. Maybe your LLC needs a business loan. So ask yourself a few questions. Do you need to have a one-time payout of funds? Because there are situations where you might need a business loan. For example, if you have a one-time payout of funds, interest rates are typically lower than a line of credit. Interest is paid on full amount. Repayment is a fixed monthly payment. You may have a prepayment fee. There is a fixed repayment timeline. So if this is what you want, if this really works for you, maybe your LLC right now does not need a business line of credit from US Bank, but rather needs a business loan. And the cool thing is that U.S. Bank offers also business loans for LLCs. Okay, we have actually covered this on another show, but yeah, they do have a very generous amounts for LLCs. And no matter what, I mean, if your LLC has less than 2 years, you can still qualify. Now, you might not qualify for a large amount, but you'll get something. Okay, you'll get something as long as, and I want to repeat this, you need to have a great relationship with U.S. Bank. And thinking ahead here, it's very important to have a clear idea about your vision for your LLC. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about LLC business lines of credit from U.S. Bank. And what I'm saying, thinking ahead, I want to really I want you to really understand your vision for your LLC. You need to understand, even if you don't have immediate equipment or cash flow needs, your LLC may want to consider a line of credit as a way to help build your business and also help build your business credit. Okay, this is important. See, oftentimes what we have seen in our research is that LLCs need a loan. By the time they need a loan or they need funding, they are in a situation where they don't qualify. See, that's the thing. Let's say your LLC needs a loan right now, and your credit score, your personal credit score or your business credit score is crappy. You never know. That's why we are telling you to actually take care of business and get a business line of credit when times are good. When times are good, that's when you actually get a business line of credit. And the cool thing is the money is there. If you don't tap into it, you don't have to repay it. But the money is there. See, it makes a whole lot of difference if you know you have cash sitting there to kind of help you when business cyclicality and seasonality hits you real bad. Okay, it's all about really making sure that you are actually not saving. You have a reserve of cash, a monetary reserve for rainy days or sunny days, or depending on how you look at it. Very important. As needs arise, you can draw on a line of credit and pay interest only on the amount you borrow. So while many LLCs prefer to operate debt-free, pursuing a line of credit can be really a prudent strategy because it can help you out down the road. Okay, so really want to think about it. And because there are some cash flow considerations you have to think about. Now, the LLC business line of credit from U.S. Bank or any other bank for that matter is not really your money, but it is cash that is sitting there that you can tap into. It's not your money because it is debt, but this debt only comes into play when you actually tap into it. It's like a credit card. When you get a credit card, if you don't use it, you're not responsible for whatever people charge on the card. Okay. The major consideration here is if you're trying to get a business line of credit from U.S. Bank for your LLCs, you got to ask yourself, do I really need a loan to fund my growth? So because the question here is not about just getting a business line of credit or a business loan for that matter from U.S. Bank for your LLC. The big question is, do you need credit to fund your growth? And most of the time you need credit. And credit, the reason why we tell, I'm not sitting here encouraging you to get in debt. No. What I'm saying is you need liquidity to grow. And in business, if your LLC does not grow, you are going to fall by the wayside, because by the competitive wayside, because there are a lot of players in the industry. And I don't care which industry you're in, all industries face competition, a certain level of competition. It really depends. Okay, so the bottom line is you need to be sure about which level of competition is actually available in your industry. You have to be very clear about that. And one thing I want you to also pay attention to is that you got to think about repayment consideration. What kind of repayment strategy do you have? See, the whole thing is not just about it's not only about, I'm going to borrow. Yes, okay, your LLC will borrow will tap into the business line of credit that you get from U.S. Bank. But are you in a position where you will be able to repay the line of credit, whatever you charge on whatever you tap into the line of credit? It's really important. Repayment considerations are really critical, because that's what's going to actually determine whether or not your business will be in a better situation in the short, medium, or long terms. Okay. And U.S. Bank is really flexible. They're giving you the cash. They will approve you for the line of credit, and they're not going to charge you any fees at all if you don't use the cash. So don't be forced to actually start using the cash so that you probably will avoid any maintenance fee or whatever. No, the whole thing is that you got to use the money very efficiently. If your LLC needs to upgrade, for example, computer hardware or software, or need to expand operations, need to buy inventory, only use the money for what we call strategic purchases. It's got to be strategic. Don't use the cash for working capital. There are other types of funding processes for those working capital needs. So here are the next steps. Okay, if you actually want to get, let's say, a U.S. bank LLC business line of credit, you need to actually make sure that you gather the paperwork that you need to get the line of credit real quick. So think about 1 to 2 years of LLC business tax returns. I'm talking about your 1065, your Form 1065. Think about 1 to 2 years of personal tax returns. Here we are speaking about your Form 1040. Okay, especially U.S. Bank will review your Schedule C. This is really important. Your personal financial statements, that is a breakdown of your personal assets and liabilities. And you also need to have a summary of business debts and income. So the whole thing here is that when we talk about personal financial statements, we're also talking about your LLC business financial statements. So U.S. Bank will look at the duality here. They'll look at two things. They'll look at your personal financial statements, but they'll also look at your business financial statements. And when we talk about business financial statements, we're speaking about the four primary financial statements. This is really, really, really important. Okay, do not underestimate this. And I'm talking about your income statement, your cash flow statements, your balance sheet, and your statement of owner's equity. Those are the primary four that we actually pay attention to, and U.S. Bank will pay attention to that. And in some cases, they might pay attention to one statement over another. It really depends on your relationship manager, the bank, the location of your account, and other factors that you cannot really predict you cannot really predict ahead of time. One thing I want to see here is that the bottom line, when you are considering an LLC business line of credit from U.S. Bank, you need to actually look at this as an ingredient in your ability to actually leverage credit to plug gaps in business cash flow. Okay, you're using a business line of credit from U.S. Bank or other banks for that matter to plug gaps in your cash flow. Like you can have gaps because of seasonality or cyclicality, or you can have gaps because of lagging payments. Okay, let's say you are giving clients discounts. Like some clients don't pay on time, for example. They take their time to pay you, and so you have vendor payments piling up. So you have to think about ways to actually reduce your level of indebtedness if you want to, So the last thing I want to talk about, I want to go back to what I just said, seasonality and cyclicality. So seasonal crunches can really actually have a huge impact on cash flow. And this is where an LLC business line of credit from U.S. Bank really helps. Make sure whatever you do that you talk to your banker. Please speak to your banker. Okay. And so your banker will be willing to discuss adjusting payment terms so that those terms will work for you. Be clear about your needs, such as delaying payments or wanting to repay your line of credit over a shorter period of time. So it is really possible that your U.S. Bank relationship manager will work to tailor terms to better fit your LLC needs. And so it's all about having a conversation. It's all about making sure that if you have too much debt, then you reduce the amount of line of credit that you are tapping into. Like you have, let's say U.S. Bank approves you for $100,000. You don't have to tap into the $100,000. Be strategic in terms of when you use the cash and why you use it in the first place. Okay, and so remember that there are other credit options. U.S. Bank has a constellation of credit products, not just the business lines of credit for your LLC. They have business loans, as I just said. They have equipment financing. They have credit cards, business credit cards. Okay, and they have a real estate financing arrangements. So make sure that you actually speak again to your relationship manager to make sure you are having the right products. Don't you just say, listen, I think I need I need an LLC business line of credit from US Bank. No, you might need something else because an expert, such as your relationship manager, might be able to give you a better piece of advice in terms of the specific type of financing that you need for your specific business. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about LLC business lines of credit from US Bank. And there are four types of LLC business lines of credit from this bank. We have cash flow manager, business line of credit, business equity line of credit, and business reserve line. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.